Hello everybody, welcome to the Carlos X360 channel. Um I'm working through a pollen allergy right now. So I'm trying to get through this. But here's the thing. Right now is Nintendo Switch to hoopla, whatever you call this. So the impressions of Nintendo Switch 2 has been coming out for a while now. Since maybe late Thursday into Friday morning and then into Friday night. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on two creators right now. Um, and one of them, which is Beat 'em Up over here, he did a interview with Cyberpunk um uh developer. Let's put it that way. So anyway, so he worked on Cyberpunk for Nintendo Switch 2, which is the impossible port, okay, of the bunch. Because we are working on the assumption that Nintendo Switch 2 is maybe one generation or two generations behind because of profitability. Okay? So we got beat 'em ups here. I'm gonna watch through the whole video with all of you all at home. And you're gonna see the interview right in the middle. Okay? And we're gonna react together. And then the second video is gonna focus on impressions, like real impressions. I'll get to it when we get there, okay? So bear with me, please. Okay, so here we go. Beat 'em up. What? Sorry.
And it sucks that I had to leave and I don't have one anymore. I want to talk about my whole experience because I played everything today. I pinged around that building so quickly in the 2 hours that I had for an allotted slot. And it is baseline. Before we continue, I need you to know sick. And I know that we're dealing with a lot right now. The prices of things are insane. I made a video about that. Now it looks like it might get even worse. So here's what I'm gonna do today. I'm not gonna worry about that. We'll let future me and future us worry about it. I'm just gonna talk about this thing, the cool experience that I had, and why I think it's the sorry, don't leave that sound in. This was the Nintendo Switch 2 New York Day 1 hands-on experience that was part of the raffle. The generic public raffle that we all entered, I actually somehow won. There were loads of content creators that were actually invited by Nintendo to go the day before. I saw iJustine, I saw Philly Beats You, I didn't see me, and I didn't see an email. What I'm saying is, people watching this, I wasn't invited by Nintendo. I got in by sheer dumb luck, and I really have no skin in the game. I'm not being paid, I'm not being influenced. I can say whatever I want. And I loved it. I just really loved it. I'm really excited for you to see this video, but there's something else I'm really excited for you to see. I knew years ago that when the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, I wanted, on launch day, to bring something back that a lot of people have been asking for. And I worked really hard at making this way better than last time. Here you go.
Congratulations on the satisfied sponsorship, bro. Ooh, wow. They made a whole satisfied
Someone on Twitter, by the
model
way, that
after
has
you,
pinged me
bro.
like every day for the last 2 months, tweeting at Wood until the Satisfy Grip 2 is revealed. Alright, baby, this isn't it. This is actually the first one. But if you missed it, I released a beat 'em ups Satisfy Grip like 4 or 5 years ago. There's also a case, except this time it's way cooler. Here it is. And look, it's got an indent of beat 'em ups this time. And the pull tabs this time are my logo. This time, the grip is fully dockable, which means you can also use the kickstand without taking the grip off. And there's 2 slots in the handles at the back to put in 2 video games. These mean so much to me. The first time we released the grip in the case, they sold out in a day. So this time, I'm just going to keep selling them. And if you want to get one, you can pre-order one. Links down below. And you also get 20% off if you pre-order it using code BeatEmUps20. This is like the coolest thing I do. I have no other merch. I never do shirts or hats or anything. I only do things when I think that they're special. And this is special. There'll be a link down below. Man, how cool was that trailer though? They're sick. I brought my friend Bob along, and I got to give a huge thank you to one of my viewers who didn't want to be named, but reached out and gave me a QR code, an extra QR code that happened to be on the same day at the same time as my session, and I gave it to Bob. Why did I do that? It was like a weird universal ride in a way. There was all separated into sections. So the first section we walked into was almost like a waiting room, and it had behind the glass cases all of the accessories and items that I would then spend the next few hours playing with, as well as a bricked Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know what you want to call it, but it wouldn't turn on. And this was actually the only Switch in the whole building that had the removable magnetic Joy-Cons that you could mess around with, because every other one were nailed in, bolted shut, locked down tight so you couldn't steal it. My brain went, can I yank off these Joy-Cons? How strong is this magnet? Too much time to try this, but have at it. I found that when I grabbed the Joy-Con, of the frame,
That's how you know I am a little allergic to something. But yeah, we're gonna just get through this. Yeah.
It just feels really quality. In fact, the whole
Stop it! Oh, jeez.
insanely big, and the new camera was insanely small. It's literally like this big. I don't know why it's 50. It's so small. Also, up close and in person, the Joy-Cons look really nice. The color scheme, the blue accent, the red accent, it really is a very sleek and, dare I say, sexy looking console. And I might be weird I even said that word. I've never been in anything like this before. It is crazy how detailed the room is. Like, there's architecture, there's painted walls, there's Switch 2 signage, there's all of these booths. It's really cool. I feel like I'm at Universal Studios right now. Like, it's really done up. Everyone's having a good time. After a little bit, we get.
Sometimes I don't like April. But hey, if you're a kid and you go to school, bro, you're gonna love April because it's spring break. Bro, you're gonna love April, bro. Okay, so.
It's flawless. Like, it's honestly a flawless experience when you're playing it handheld. The TV's much of the same. The HDR,
because if you're in college, and spring break is right there, you're gonna go to Las Vegas and dance with all these women, bro. Come on.
Than the OLED. Well, the OLED has an advantage is just in those deep, rich blacks, but I think just in general, this screen looks so much nicer. After we were done with our allotted time in this section, they shuffled us upstairs into another Mario Kart room. But this room was crazy. It was the Battle Royale room. And they put 24 of us on one side, 24 on the other side. And then both sides of the rooms competed in a 24 Mario Kart Battle Royale where it was one straight crazy course. And there were these checkpoints you had to race to. So
more about this later. Just bear with me.
The 4 losers, the 4 suckers, they don't get to keep playing. Also, this Battle Royale mode is the first time today I'm using the new Pro Controller. It's really nice, really great, not that different. I mean, the old one's perfect. What are you gonna do? And unfortunately, the guy that has a channel all about Switch, lost immediately. I didn't even qualify in the first 20. But I was a little busy. I was trying to get my glasses to record, and I was trying to film on my phone, and I didn't realize that I had to be quick, and I realized way too late and got knocked out. But I took it as an opportunity to go over and film Bob, and Bob did great.
I'm going really hard right now, but I'm not going to.
We had a really nice lady over there, and she was like, "You lost, but did you have fun?" And I was like, "I guess."
He almost won. He got to like the last 10. But this mode is so creative and cool. I really do love the idea. But a couple other things I really liked about the game that I found out is when you're racing in the standard cut mode, after a race ends, you then race to the next course and then do the course. Because it's open world and all the Mario Kart courses are like situated in the actual world, yeah, after a course ends, it doesn't just automatically move you over to the next one. It's part of the race. Oh, also something I should mention, you'll see in the footage where I'm filming this guy. Really nice guy. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he had a camera with him. We were intrigued by that because we were told we weren't allowed to bring cameras in. So everything you're seeing was recorded on my iPhone.
I see a camera right there, though.
The actual quality of these games. Like, I've been watching it back, and some of my clips look really good, but it's all recorded off of phone.
I think they meant like traditional cameras. But, bro, we have iPhones, bro. We have Android phones. They have cameras on them.
Experience because they gave us 2 hours in this room to do whatever we wanted, and they had everything in here. The first thing that we ended up kind of beelining to was there was this back section that said mature gamers only, and I wanted to know what was in there, and it turns out it was Yakuza and Cyberpunk. You might know this if you've been watching me for a while. One of my biggest videos was my review of Cyberpunk. I followed every website, trailer, announcement, anything for that game for over a decade, and the game that I got was not the game that I wanted, and I made a pretty intense video about that. And then Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red, they listened to everybody's criticism and went on to fix the game over the years. And now I never played it. It's kind of crazy now that I'll get to do it again, and I will. I'll play it again, review it again, and this time it's on Switch. So it's a real full circle moment. And then the community manager for CD Projekt Red, who's been working at the project for the last
interview.
Years, came up to me and said, "Hi, Wood.
Listen,
Seen your video." I had an
I'll put it up for you.
Moment of, oh no, should I go?
Hi, community manager for CD Projekt.
I am Marchie.
Nice to meet you.
This guy was awesome. He was so nice. I asked him about the video. He said, of course, he's seen it and he understands it. He thought it was completely fair and that everyone's entitled to their opinions. And clearly, there was something to it because they went on to try and fix the game. So it's not like I was off the mark.
You know if the entire game is on the cartridge?
Yes, it is.
The whole game?
Yes,
Okay.
we specifically went for the highest capacity, so 64 gigs.
Wow, that's awesome.
Even though technically this game would run better if you played it on a PC, for him the Switch version is the most fun to play because of how intuitive the motion controls are, because how much they've worked. And it was the first thing that Bob noticed, even without being told. He was messing around with the gyro a little bit and said, wow, this feels really good. But it's not even the gyro that he was talking about. It's the mouse controls and the actual Joy-Con gyro controls. So that was a lot of fun to play around with, and I'll say that the game looks incredible on the console. The only giveaway is still the hair, and it kind of gives it away that you're playing it on something that's maybe getting its GPU pushed to the limit. But other than the hair, everything else looked phenomenal. And I wanted to know like the frame rates and stuff like that for a big game like this, to see how it would compare to like the Steam Deck version. And he said,
It's been tailor-made for the Switch 2 hardware. hardware. It's
Okay.
utilizing all its features that we can to get the best performance, get the best experience. In quality mode, we're targeting 30 FPS, and in performance mode, we're targeting 40 FPS.
It looked fantastic, and I'll say that the 30 frames was super consistent. It's just not my favorite. Still not the best, but even games like Monster Hunter Wilds runs at 40 frames in the balanced mode on PlayStation 5, and that extra 10 frames does go a long way at smoothing out the 30 frames. But it is a game that historically does not run well on handheld consoles. So the fact that it's even running as well as it is on Switch 2 is pretty impressive. Immediately as we walked out of the mature content section, we literally went the complete other way and walked to GameCube content. Bob and I went one-on-one on Soul Calibur. What do you want me to say? It's Soul Calibur. It was awesome. I played as Link and I beat Killick. That's how you know I'm good. Bob also had me turn on the CRT scanline features that make it look like you're playing on an old TV back in the day. I turned it off when I tried Wind Waker, and let me tell you, you guys are gonna love it. It's Wind Waker, but like in 4K. This is just the straight GameCube version, but honestly, this game is timeless, ageless. The HDR, which by the way, you still get when you play docked, and the HDR was HDRing while we were playing Wind Waker. Also, I got to use the GameCube controller here. It's a GameCube controller. You probably know what to expect. The only differences are there's a ton of buttons at the top. They put the capture button up the top. Other than that, it was a normal GameCube controller. Usually it would be wireless, but here it's plugged in so I don't steal it. And to be fair, I was thinking about it, even though both Bob and I had a lot of fun today, and we had a couple highlights, and we haven't even got to one of them yet. Metroid Prime 4 was probably the one that Bob and I kept talking about for the rest of the day. I played Metroid Prime 4 today in 120 frames. It felt like I was sitting at a high-end PC. This was the moment where I really realized, especially after coming off of Cyberpunk.
My immediate impression of some of these games is that, just like with the Switch, the Nintendo-made games, the first-party games, they're gonna look phenomenal and play insane. And the third-party big games, kind of like how we had Witcher, they're gonna try their best to utilize the hardware, but people are still gonna have complaints, I think, about some of those experiences.
That's not to be negative, because ultimately being able to play them portable is, in most cases, is worth making, in my opinion. But coming from that 30 FPS Cyberpunk to the 120 FPS Metroid, I mean, it was whiplash. The biggest thing here that you might be wondering, when you switch between the mouse mode and then pick it up, seamless transition.
So this is how instant mouse mode is. You see the little reticle in the middle? Oh. That's how quickly it knows that you're doing mouse mode.
It is completely seamless. So Bob wanted to go and play this pack-in game. I gotta be honest.
Sounds
no
like
interest from me whatsoever.
when
So I
you
left into
switch
that and
from
I walked down the aisle
one
a little bit,
Joy-Con to
and
the
at
other
very end
one,
was Hogwarts. Now,
it is
I know, not everybody's favorite game,
transitioning very
but the
well.
Switch 1 version was notoriously
And
pretty hard.
he
I mean,
just
this was one of
showed
the
that
most
his
ambitious
arm
Switch
is
ports
up
we ever got,
and the
for
other
that
one is
alone, I
down
do
there.
appreciate what they tried to
So
do. So
does
this
that
was
mean
one
there's
that I was
more
really
freedom
curious in
to the
checking out,
mouse
just because it's
controls
such a one-for-one
that we initially
comparison to what
thought?
the new Switch 2 can
Because
do. And I'm gonna sound
I
like a
thought
broken record,
it
but
was only
holy
just
moly, visually,
gyroscopes
really nice, really good. I was even
and
flying around the world
just
for a
mouse
little bit,
controls.
and it is honestly quite.
But
I've used the word
Nintendo
baffling,
made it
bizarre,
so
awesome.
seamless
For this, I'll say
that
impressive. After that, I
you
walked
do
back
this
to
one
Bob
over
and
here,
saw him playing the
and then
Pac-Man
you do
game, and
this
he was
one
kinda just
over
walking
here.
around, a little Joy-Con, and then he played this game where he had to guess the frame rate. What a game.
It's cool that it shows you all the
Oh,
cool
and
stuff
that's
that the
funny,
Switch can
too.
do, but put it in the box.
I find it funny that this is even a thing Nintendo are doing, and it's weird because how do I explain this? Every time Nintendo makes a new console and then they do the pack-in game or whatever game it is that kind of uses the hardware's new gimmicks, it's just that. Like Wii Bowling for the Wii motion controls, Nintendo Land with everything that it did. You get it. But this time around, it seems like the gimmick for Nintendo is 120 frames and how many pixels we've got and 4K. Because I even saw him playing a little mini game in here where as he was going along in a Mario world, he was like getting bigger and bigger pixel resolution on the screen, and it was telling you what the resolution was. So these like mini games that usually are about the hardware's gimmicks, the gimmicks were look at the frames. Why I think this is
Hold up. To be fair to Nintendo, Nintendo well, I'm not talking about the hardcore Nintendo fans. I'm talking about Nintendo fans in general, like the casual market. I don't think that a lot of people understand that the marketing for Nintendo products is to parents and kids in general. And that's what you really want as a company. You want to market to kids and parents so that they understand what they're buying. Okay? Okay, so but the problem is, and I'm gonna re-stress this point. Welcome Tour, it should have been a pack-in title. It should not have been a. I don't understand it. I don't understand it, bro. Here's the thing. These gimmicks that he's talking about, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Um, that it's not new, but the way that I think Nintendo is trying to do this is what they're trying to do is teach the parents and the kids why they should buy the Nintendo Switch and why they should get into the next generation race, why they should be there, why they made the price point, why they're buying the games they are. I think they're trying to talk to, I'm not gonna say stupid, but um, I'm trying to find a really nice way to say this without saying stupid, but it's not. Ignorance is another word, but ignorance is also like. There's gotta be a word that I'm looking for that should be easier for people to understand what I'm trying to say, to convey. But here's the thing. Uh, the parents, they're not the people that invest in video games every day, every hour of the day. They are not the people that will buy a new video game all the time. No, 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 no. They're the type of people that go to work and then come back home and then they want to play a video game or so. And then, but the thing is, most parents, they're buying the games or the console for their children. Okay? So, at the same time, we're talking about casuals. Okay? And when I say casuals, I'm not talking about the parent. The parents is the casual, yes. But the casual we're talking about here is the Call of Duty casual. So they buy a video game console, but they come home from work, they want to play a video game, and that's what they're targeting against, you know? So when Nintendo does gimmicks like this, they're trying to talk to people who had never touched a video game, has never played a video game, or never interacted with a video game, never understood the specification of a console, or this and that and the other. That's what they're trying to target. But the thing is, yes, he's right. Yes, he's right. Okay? All this is gonna fall on deaf ears. I agree with that. I agree with that. Let's go. I agree with that.
Is because I think Nintendo thinks this is the gimmick, when it's just normal, not really a gimmick, to be honest. And if I could be a little critical, neither is the PlayStation 2 iToy, a mouse that was on every 90s computer ever, and game chat. Like, I wasn't sat in a Ventrilo server 15 years ago with my high school friends. Oh, I guess it would have been more like 20. Ugh. The Switch 2 is cool. It's just funny that the gimmicks this time around are all old things. I didn't get to play the, I hate calling it the wheelchair game, I apologize, but you know what I mean. But I did film people playing it, and they seemed like they were having fun. Looking down the line and seeing all of them slap their little Joy-Con hands as they were all wheeling around the game. And I like that at the end, they were all clapping their hands. That game honestly kind of slaps. I just think
that is... No. That's actually interesting. That's actually interesting. Because a lot of games... Okay, so X Defiant has like a emoji select. So you select the emoji, and you use it in the winner screen. Right here, what it sounds like is when you use the Joy-Cons together, as it was shown, what it sounds like is they're doing it on No. No, that is a good innovation, by the way. That's a good one. That's a very good one. So, in the winner screen, you smash the Joy-Cons, and they say, "Hey, I did this. Oh, no. I agree with that. That is ingenious. That is ingenious.
On the handheld and 5 minutes on the TV. Oh,
genius.
My God. Very start of Breath of the Wild, so you get the whole shot where you walk out of the cave, and I'll say it again, the HDR goes so hard, and the first thing you notice is the first thing I noticed years ago when I emulated Breath of the Wild 4K 60 frames. When you stand at the top of that little mountain hill in the intro, and you can see the entire land of Hyrule in full HD clarity definition with draw distances all the way back to the castle and further. It really is jaw-dropping, and to get it native on the handheld console was really cool. And I got to play on the TV for a little bit, and when I say a little bit, I mean it. They gave you 5 minutes. After Breath of the Wild, we walked around, and tucked behind a back corner that we hadn't noticed before was Mario Party Jamboree with the camera. It was really lucky that we walked over here, actually, because neither of us realized we were forgetting about that, because I gotta be honest, neither of us, I think, I don't want to speak for him, really care about the camera. I haven't thought about the PlayStation 2 iToy in a long time. I didn't care for the Kinect when that was a thing, so seeing another camera wasn't really into it, but here it is. And we played Mario Party Jamboree, me and Bob versus 2 of the staff that were working there. I felt so...
And he's gonna talk about this. But anyway, so what I was gonna say is, nobody cares about the eye controller is because it's too gimmicky. But the thing is, game chat seems like a gimmick that is trying to target streamers, new streamers. Okay? I'm not talking about today's streamers. I'm talking about streamers in general. And then they want to create a new generation of streamers, because, but here's, I'm gonna talk about this another time, but I feel like there should be like a record button. We all thought that the C button was going to be a capture button. Like PlayStation 5, you have like a recording button, 3 dots. So that's what it does. And you're able to stream to Twitch, you're able to stream to YouTube, you're able to record and then send it out to YouTube. But here is a game chat feature, and they're trying to emulate. When I say emulate, I'm not talking about emulation. Nintendo does not like that name, but they're trying to emulate Xbox 360. The game chat feature sounds like an Xbox 360 thing. Okay? Because today we have. Oh, okay. I almost pressed it. Anyway, so I don't know if you can see that, but there's a headphone jack in there, and you can put like your headsets in there and talk to people that way. That was an Xbox 360 thing. Okay? So you talk to everybody, you chill out in the lobby screen. Bro, that's what everybody wanted. Everybody from PlayStation 3 owners, Xbox, from PlayStation 3 owners to PlayStation 4 owners to PlayStation 5 owners, and Xbox Series S and X. So it might seem like a new feature, but they're trying to innovate with the game chat feature. Okay? And they want to target streamers, and they want new streamers also. Okay? So here they get embarrassed because it is pretty much mimicking the iToy. You'll see in a second here. Watch.
Awkward and dorky. I did not expect to have to literally do a mini game here on the show floor, but the point is to make as much body movement and noise as possible. Bob and I were having to scream in front of everybody. I was so embarrassed. I have social anxiety, and I would love, Zach, if we could slow down the moment where we started screaming the first time. I guarantee you there's a couple of moments where he goes first, and I'm like, I guess we're doing this.
We just played the Mario Party iToy game, and it was thoroughly embarrassing.
I had a great time.
But I will say it was fun, and I don't think it's something I would do.
I'm never playing that again.
I'm never doing it again. But I could see kids really liking it.
The camera is goofy, it's really low quality. I had a hard time finding where I was supposed to stand with it, but it worked. Well, actually, no, it kind of didn't. I'm giving it too much credit. Bob was filming this on his chest, so I'm not sure how much you could see since he was moving around so much. But the very first thing we had to do was Bowser says, Simon says. And he told Luigi, which was me, to squat. And I squatted, and it just didn't register it. And then it told me to, like, keep standing up, and I didn't move. And it also didn't register it. Maybe if it was in my house and I was used to where I was supposed to stand, but maybe I was doing something wrong I didn't realize. But I mean, it was squat and stand, and I did both. All right, we're at the final room. They made the piece de resistance Donkey Kong. I've never really cared for Donkey Kong. Like, not too much. The 2D side-scrollers were never for me, and I've never really enjoyed 2D platformers all that much. I didn't really play Donkey Kong 64. I was more of an Ocarina kid, so I don't have really much banana skin in the game, should I say. For me, it was Mario Kart, Metroid, checking out some of these third...
I'm not much of a Donkey Kong kind of guy either. But I will give Donkey Kong Country credit. That was a great franchise. The problem is it didn't like translate into 3D all that well. Because I don't think that Nintendo understood what the marketing strategy of Donkey Kong Country was. No, I don't. Because we're talking about a game that is like pre-rendered and it looks like a Pixar film in a video game. We're talking about a video game that looks like a Pixar film in real life. But the thing is, the later Donkey Kong Country games that appeared on Wii or whatever game that was, those games, they look like traditional 2D/3D games. They didn't have the shadows. They didn't have... I don't know if I'm making sense, but we're I mean, I like the 2D aspect of the game, but the thing is, when you play a 3D game at that era, it looked almost like cartoon. Not to besmirch I don't know if I'm making sense. It didn't look the same as Donkey Kong Country. I don't think Nintendo understood why Donkey Kong Country succeeded where other platformers didn't succeed. Even Sega released like a Vector Man on Genesis to bank on this idea of Donkey Kong Country being pre-rendered and being done in a way that sounds like a high-end PC in a console, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. Okay, let's go.
Party things and how it runs, and mostly just playing with the thing itself. But, Donkey Kong is freaking cool, man. It's a lot like Mario Odyssey, but if the entire world was like a 4D playground, you can destroy everything, and you can destroy even straight down into the ground, and the ground just keeps going, like mining down in Minecraft, just spamming the attack button and just absolutely carving through the side of a mountain or carving through a cave is so satisfying. And the guy said to me that the world is filled with secrets from top to literally bottom. Like, he said that in the time that they've been showing the game off, people have found things they didn't even know were in the game. And I went over to Bob at one point to film him playing the game, and I said, Bob, can you just, where you are now, can you just smash down? And he smashed down a few times and found it.
Okay. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to sell more than any other Donkey Kong game in history, and it's because of this idea. And I think the reason why Donkey Kong 64 failed is because it was not polished enough to do this. We didn't have the console to do this thing over here. Because if I'm Nintendo and I make a Donkey Kong game in 3D like this, I would do a game that is centered around smashing things. Yeah. Yes, sir. Alright? So, that's gonna sell so well. Okay? You put this on TV, it's gonna sell. Doesn't matter what the code is. The code might be Super Mario Galaxy like they said, but the actual game is gonna be very interesting for everybody else, because the way I imagine Donkey Kong actually is this: smashing things, finding secrets, destroying enemies, throwing objects to another area, and then I don't know, but it feels like they perfected the Donkey Kong formula right here. Perfect. Let's go. Keep going.
Giant hidden chest secret. Literally right there where I told you to randomly smash down, you found something secret. There are tons of different collectibles that you can get on the side of the screen and things to look out for in every level. Gorgeous game too. When you press the minus button, it brings up the map, and the map, like, it zooms out in real time and it shows you a real representation of what's left of the world after you've wrecked through it. It shows all the damage that you've caused. It feels next-gen Nintendo. And I don't just mean in the gameplay, but obviously the visuals and the frame rates and the resolution of it all too. Like, everything is coming together to make this game feel next-gen Nintendo. It feels like going back in time to 64 and playing Mario 64 for the first time and not really knowing how to interact with the world, but rediscovering video games for the first time. I hope I'm not overselling this, but everybody that was lining up and playing were like, whoa, like you could hear whoa, wows. Everyone that recognized me and Bob were like, you're gonna love it, it was so sick, oh my god. The other thing is, the redesign of Donkey Kong, watching him in this game, the animation on his face in just moments where he's idling has so much character. But then in the cutscenes and just the way the animators have moved his face and the expressions they've given him, he's adorable. I absolutely love him. And that was our experience. On the way out, they gave us a cool, sick-ass bag. I also got a lanyard and I kept my little badge. I'll keep this forever. I'm so happy that I got to go. I wish both Bob and I got invited with the other creators. I'm not gonna lie. But I gotta tell you, the trade-off of that was going to this event with the public. And the public was so nice. Bob and I met so many people today that recognized me and him from the channel.
It's good to be liked.
It's good to be liked. And there was something so wholesome and sweet and special about the amount of people that were going to this event because they love Nintendo and they were excited to play the Switch 2, and then seeing a couple of YouTubers that they like watching videos for. And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I got the Switch 2 and Bob Wolf is here. Actually, you know what? Screw the influencer day. I'm glad we didn't go on that day. I'm glad we went today and we got to meet all of you. And if you saw us there, thanks so much for being so sweet. Everyone we met congratulated me on the baby, which, by the way, I'm not having the baby, Kim is. But I know, I'm just kidding, and it was so nice. It was so nice. Well, the baby that I'm having is my Satisfy grip. So, no, the other baby is my baby. That was a weird plug. But don't forget the Satisfy grip. Check it down below. Okay, final thoughts. It was all sick. But what it feels like to me is that awesome console that we've had for the last 10 years finally brought up to current day. Finally able to do some really awesome things like playing these Nintendo games in insanely high frame rates and resolutions with beautiful beautiful HDR visuals and creative new experiences using that hardware like Donkey Kong, which has got me so excited for this generation of Nintendo games. I can't wait to see what they do with Zelda. I can't wait to see where they take Animal Crossing. I can't wait to see how they utilize this new hardware. And if it's any indication with Donkey Kong, we have nothing to worry about. I know it's expensive, and again, I know that there's concerns around money, and this video I didn't want to make it about that, but if you get one, you're gonna love it. It's sick. It's so good. I hope you enjoyed this video and a look at the Nintendo Switch 2. Subscribe if you're new, because I don't know if you know this whole channel is about this stuff. Like and comment if you have something to say, and I will I'll see you soon with more Switch 2 stuff. And
now. Alright. Next section starts now. Alright. Shout out to Botox Games. You're getting this attention. Gotcha. Alright, so let's keep going.
Okay, people, I just got back from New York where I went hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2. I have messed with the console itself. I have played Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Basically, all of the big games that we have seen, I have played them. And for a lot of what I played and experienced, I'm of two minds on. I came out of this event way more excited for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, for example. However, and this might come as a surprise to some people, I'm actually a little bit more skeptical of a game like Donkey Kong Bonanza than I was when I first saw it. So that's what we're getting into today, an overview of my entire experience, everything I played. I will end up doing more granular videos on a few things like Mario Kart World and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. But if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 coverage, discussions, videos, gameplay, all that fun stuff, I would appreciate you subscribing. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, talking about the event itself, shout out to the Nintendo staff at this event. I mean, they've really kind of had it all streamlined and down to a T. There was really no point where I was waiting more than 5 or 10 minutes to play a game, and it was really long. This was a much more extensive preview than I was even expecting. I think I was there for like 2.5, 3 hours just messing around playing games. However, a little bit of an asterisk. So they gave us this little card, and as you can see, throughout the event, they were marking things off here. And once you had this filled up, you were technically supposed to just go play Donkey Kong Bonanza and leave. So unfortunately, I ended up playing some things that I kind of regret, like, not wasting time on it, but something like Street Fighter 6, I probably shouldn't have played that. I probably should have gone to play Kirby and the Forgotten Lands new DLC instead, but yeah, that's how it was structured. You came in, you got to touch the console, experience the console for a little bit, then you got to play some Mario Kart World, then you go to the free play area. That's where you can play Prime 4 Beyond, Welcome Tour, as well as a bunch of third-party games. And then once you fill up your card of 6 games, they will ask you to leave the area and go play Donkey Kong Bonanza, and that is the end of the events. They are giving out free swag for anybody that did manage to get into one of the events in New York coming up or in any other territory. For me, I got this really cool Nintendo Switch 2 bag. I saw there's also like notebooks and stuff and maybe a pencil case, but the bag is definitely the big thing, and I was very happy to get this. But let's talk about the console and games. That is what you were here for, I imagine. Starting with the console. So this is what they had us do first. They had us come up to this little section and just kind of hold the console in handheld mode and mess around with it. And oh my goodness, this thing feels really premium. This is one of my biggest surprises from this new console, just how premium it feels. The magnets especially, it feels really sturdy. When you hold a Joy-Con, the way the Joy-Cons rail in, it feels a little, flimsy. I'm not saying the Switch 1 by itself is bad or anything, but you can like kind of wiggle the Joy-Con even when they're attached to the Switch 1 as it stands. With the Switch 2, when those Joy-Con are magnetized in, they are locked in. You're not wiggling them. I had a couple questions asking about how that would feel. Can you break it? Can you kind of just like peel it off? No. You have to press that big button on the back and they just snap right off. But otherwise, the magnets for this thing are extremely strong. They are extremely secure. And it just makes it feel like more of like a, just a nice, well-made product. It almost doesn't even feel like
What it sounds like is that it's not easy for a kid to break it off anymore. It's not easy to break. So, yeah. He just said it.
controllers are detachable unless you press the detach button. Otherwise, it kind of just feels like you're holding a Steam Deck or something. That's really how it feels. And just the build quality of this thing overall is very nice. The kickstand, I was honestly a little worried about because it's like hollow. It's like that U-shaped thing. The Switch OLED kickstand is incredible. I love the kickstand on that thing. I would say it's about equal based on the limited experience I got with it. So the kickstand's good. But then also the other controllers feel very premium as well. The Pro Controller, it feels like the Switch 1 Pro Controller, just a little bit nicer. You have that C button, you have that audio jack. I like the new design a little bit here. There's also the GL and GR buttons, which are going to be programmable. Those buttons weren't actually programmed to anything, so I didn't really get to try them out, but they felt pretty natural, like the location of them on the back, so that your middle finger can press them, or I guess your ring finger, depending on how you hold the controller. But then also, what really surprised me was the Joy-Con charging grip. That also has programmable buttons. So in the box, you'll get the standard plastic little thing to put your Joy-Con in, and that feels really good. But then there is also the charging grip that will be available, I think, for $35, which includes those programmable buttons. This feels really good. I pretty much never used the Joy-Con grip with the Switch 1 because the Joy-Con were so small. I didn't like how it felt. I just moved immediately to the Pro Controller. And realistically, I will do that here, but I think a lot of people are going to open this up on release day with the bigger Joy-Con. They're going to put it onto the grip and be like, I don't really feel like I need a Pro Controller this time around because it does feel good because they are bigger, so it just fits better in your hands. The Joy-Con grip really surprised me here. I think a lot of people will just choose to use that for a long time this generation. Final thing I really want to touch on when it comes to the Switch...
Whoops, sorry, that's my fault. Just give me a second here.
Hardware in this video is the screen. I was skeptical because I love my Switch OLED, and I feel like going back from OLED to an LCD screen is definitely a downgrade, and certainly in some areas maybe you'll see that, but this screen is beautiful. It's not the same LCD tech that they were using in 2017 when they released the Nintendo Switch. It has HDR, and maybe most importantly, it is 120 FPS. Now, the only game I really got to experience in handheld mode was Mario Kart World, and I wish I had my OLED or something to really compare them side by side. To me, and this is all, in a big event with tons of lights everywhere, a lot of noise, kind of hard to really focus and discern the little details, but just playing Mario Kart World in handheld mode for a little bit, I think it looked as good as an OLED screen. Maybe not quite there, but I think the HDR is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and, once we see games running at 120 FPS, like A Prime 4 in handheld mode, I think they made the right choice for me. I mean, maybe years down the line we get another OLED edition, but having this 1080p 120 hertz screen that has HDR, it looks really good. The colors really pop, and I'm really happy with how the screen looks on this thing. But now let's talk about Mario Kart World as well as Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's what opened the event as well as closed it. I'm gonna do separate videos on the big stuff, really going in depth. Well, not only my impressions, but also just more thoughts on the games in general. But Mario Kart World, this is what we played first. We got to play a couple of regular races, as well as a round of the Knockout Tour. We didn't get too much experience with the free roam mode, except for when we were in the lobby waiting for Knockout to start. But this game feels really good. It's kind of a weird demo, because not only is it 100cc, but they also had it locked to the auto smart steering, like accessibility mode, which kind of made it hard to get a gauge on of like, okay, how is this game actually going to feel? Because no one's going to play it in 100cc. But visually, very beautiful game. There's a lot of new stuff going on here, while still, it feels like Mario Kart. I think it might feel a little bit more like Mario Kart 8 than I expected. To see, but once again, that might be because I have a smart steering on and it was 100cc. Once I really get to sit down with this game and experiment with all the new mechanics and stuff, maybe that'll change. There is a lot going on here. There's this new rolling start thing where you don't start at like the start line or a finish line. When you load into a race, you'll just be going immediately, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't really change that much, but it makes it feel a little bit more dynamic. You can do multiple tricks now in the air. I wasn't really sure what that was doing. I asked the rep, like, hey, does this make you go faster? If you do like 5 tricks in the air or something, do you get an extra boost? Doesn't seem to be the case, so I guess it's just for style points. I don't know, swag points. It did feel like the courses were a little too wide. I know it's 24 players, but I think this might be the issue with a 100cc demo. You're demoing it on these huge tracks. The tracks are so much bigger than they've ever been before in terms of width, but it's 100cc, so it kind of feels a little slow. So honestly, I know I'm going to love this game. I know I just need to get in there with 150 or 200cc if 200cc is in the game. But weird demo, kind of felt slow, but I could tell it was very high quality, and there's a lot of new stuff there, like grinding on the rails. I didn't get to do it too much. There was one section, like there's this bridge with like the suspension. You can go up that. Very cool. It's very different and dynamic feeling for a Mario Kart game. Racing on top of water is cool. I love that gliders are gone, and now your car just turns into an airplane. Really, really big fan of that. The character selection is. I'm really curious to see how the character selection screen is gonna, weigh out when you have everything unlocked, because as it stands in these demos, they're showing all the different costumes. And maybe this has been revealed through people, scouring through all the footage. I'm a little confused on why they even have the food bags. So basically when you're racing, you can come across these little food bags that we saw in the initial teaser back in January. And when you grab it and you eat the food, depending on what character you're playing as, it will just change their outfits. I don't really know what the point is. I'm really kind of scratching my head. I don't know if that's just going to be the way you unlock these characters, because then after that, like once you get all the characters, what do these do? I mean, it just kind of feels like a weird gameplay inclusion, specifically in like regular races. If it was in the free roam mode,
I'm trying to get the perfect image, guys.
Character skins in the open world, but in a regular race, I was playing as Pauline, and I had a skin on for her. I grabbed the food, I ate the food. And then it just got rid of her costume.
Come on.
And then I got another food and it put it back on. I was like, okay, that's weird. Or I was playing as the Moo Meadows cow, and I got one of the foods, and I ate it.
Dude, where's
I guess the cow doesn't have any costume, so it just did
I don't know if I'm
it's
getting
really
that
weird mechanic.
right,
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe the Mario Kart World Direct in a couple of weeks will shine some more light on it. But the absolute highlights of the Mario Kart World demo was the Knockout Tour challenge. I think it's called Knockout Tour. This is basically like a Fall Guys, I guess, would be the best way to describe it, where to continue on with the race, you must be placed within a certain number. My friend Dan, check out @DanPar on YouTube, he was playing with me. He got out like in the first section. I think it's 6 sections you race through, and you just have to progressively get higher and higher placements. Otherwise, you will be disqualified, and you're just gonna have to sit there and wait. Very cool, very competitive, very, very stressful, right? Trying to make sure, okay, I need to be in like at least within 8th place early on within this section. Otherwise, I'm going to be out. I'm really excited to dive in on this. I think for me, unless there's something else that we don't know about with this game, this is going to be the mode I really play, because the open world stuff, that's going to be cool, depending on what's in there. Cool. That's all stuff I'll do first couple weeks, eventually be done with it. This Knockout Fall Guys mode, this is really fun, though. I think this is where a lot of time is going to be spent in Mario Kart's world. It's kind of funny because, like, it's already really degrading when you're in, like, 12th place in a Mario Kart game. Now you're going to be in, like, 24th, depending. It's just a little funny, like, man, it's going to feel really bad if you lose in like, the first section of a knockout race. Sorry, Dan. I mean, I felt bad. He just had to watch me play for, like, 3 more minutes. These are very long matches, too, because it is several sections. It is a bunch of, parts of a track kind of split up here. So it goes way longer than a regular race. This is cool. Which makes it feel like more of like an endurance test, if anything. I really, really like the knockout mode, and I'm excited to play more when it does release. So yeah, Mario Kart demo, a little weird because it's 100cc and the smart steering was on, but I could definitely see the vision here, and I'm very excited to see that direct and get more hands-on time with it when the game actually releases. Donkey Kong Bonanza. You're not gonna like what I have to say. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
hold on.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I really like that Donkey Kong is back. I like.
I don't know what happened to the video when it got bright. I don't know, but I'm gonna leave the video in the description so you can see the actual footage for yourself. But there are some, because the whole thing is Mario Kart World is an open world game, but you can play game modes inside game modes, okay? So if you're playing Mario Kart World, I don't know what it's gonna be called at that point. But the traditional Mario Kart game is known as Mario Kart Circuit. Mario Kart something else. But when you play the circuit, you are going in a circle, basically. There's a bunch of turns, there's a bunch of path to take, and all that kind of stuff. But in this footage, the reason why I chose this video particularly by Botox Games is that the video actually shows what the open world game is able to do for the traditional card game, the traditional circuit game is. Okay? So in that footage that I tried to show, so you know how the tracks go in one way, right? But there's spots where when you turn to the other side, you go from the track to the other side of the road, and then you jump down to the other part of the map. So let's say you have this track right here. You go to the corner, you go down, because the long way is you go straight and then the corner and then downhill. In Mario Kart World, the footage that I saw, you go from midway down to the other side of that corner. So everybody else is going to take the long way. You're going to take the shortcut. That's what the Battle Royale mode is. So it's going to be who is going to win. Well, not by cheating, but like who's going to win by I would do whatever it takes to win Mario Kart World. At one point, I saw like a footage. One street, the second street, the third street, and then the fourth street. It was crazy. I think he's gonna show the rest of it here, but hey, that was what I was trying to show you guys here, because this is a good representation of Mario Kart World. Great job, Botox Games. You broke the mold of a lot of people who talk about Mario Kart World. If I was Nintendo and I was highlighting a footage from a gamer, it would be this one right here, because nobody else went from the street to the next street and then the next. Oh my god.
Like that they're doing this whole destructible environment thing. It's very unique for a Nintendo game. You can tell it's the Odyssey team, by the way. When you get a banana and he says, "Ooh, banana," and he has like the little intro screen of him grabbing it, that is so Mario Odyssey when you grab a moon. It almost makes me wonder, did this game like start as a DLC almost for Mario Odyssey or something, or like just a smaller game that kind of got blown up to be a full release? Very fun to play. I like the controls. You jump with A, but basically your X, Y, or B will have you punching in different directions. X being up, B being down, and then Y just kind of being forward. And the whole goal is just to basically destroy the environment, grabbing all of the Banandium, I think it's called, the gold little ingots, as well as, of course, doing little quests around the map. There were 2 areas. I think it's Ingots Isle, which is like the, underground little miner's cave. That's what we saw in the trailer, but then also this lagoon level, which is also underground, but very beautiful. This is where you can find Cranky Kong. I was looking for him. I could not find him in my time. There are some really cool ideas here. There's some really cool stuff going on. I like Odd Rock. Apparently there was a big leak with Odd Rock. We'll discuss that in another video. But I like it. However, I have to say it, and I hope my camera picked it up. I wasn't recording in, I don't think I was recording in 60 FPS. It's weird that Nintendo is pushing a console as like, yeah, this is our 4K console. It's doing 60 FPS. The frame rate
It
of this
looks
was really
fine
bad.
to me,
I was honestly like
It
really
looks
shocked.
fine.
I'm
I
not a
don't
frame
know
rate
what you're
snob,
talking
but when
about.
Nintendo was pushing this as like their cutting edge new hardware and like they're really talking about like HDR and stuff, I it was shocked that they were letting us play the game in this state. It's not like unplayable or anything, don't get me wrong, but when you are like really underground or something and there's just chaos and destruction everywhere, you're gonna see that frame rate drop. Or most notably, when you open the map, which like retains all of the destruction information from what you've done, the map was running. I'm not joking. Probably at like 15 FPS maybe at times. It was really bad. I really hope that by the time this game comes out in July, they fix up the frame rate because I was shocked. I was shocked at the frame rate in this game. So I hope they fix that up. I don't want to linger on that too much because I know a lot of people don't even really care. But it does. There's a disconnect here of Nintendo like
some people
focusing on
do
graphics
care
and stuff for the first time ever. But then also one of their premier titles wasn't running very well. I really hope they fix that up. Also, a little disorienting when you are smashing deep down into the rocks, which they want you to do because there are collectibles down there. There are the gold ingots that you can find. It gets a little disorienting. It kind of gets you can kind of get lost down there because you're just in like this weird cave void thing, and you can kind of like see through the walls, but not really. It's a little disorienting. It's easy to get a little mixed up with where you're going. But that said, I do like what I played of it beyond the frame rate and beyond the disorientation of being underground a little bit. There are these challenges that you can find that remind me very much of the floodless levels in Mario Sunshine. There was also stuff like this in Odyssey where you go into like a different zone and you have a specific challenge where it's like, okay, defeat this many enemies in this amount of time doing this with this specific moveset, or you have to climb this girder and walk around and avoid enemies while you're climbing it. That's what I'm really excited to see more of. And I think what maybe had me the most excited from Bonanza is the movement. You could tell it was the Odyssey team. I was trying right before the demo ended. I was like, okay, what's the pet going to be? Because you can pick up a rock, I think with ZR, and then if you dash while holding the rock, it becomes like a Beyblade that you're riding on. So there's that. But then Donkey Kong also has this roll move. So you can like kind of roll, then jump, and then do another roll. It was reminding me very much of the movement in Odyssey where you throw Cappy, you roll into it, you jump on it, you throw it again, and dive. Like, I'm excited to see the movement tech. I'm excited to see speedruns of this game because, I mean, you can really tell that's one of the big things with this game is that they focus on the movements. Not, surprising for the Mario Odyssey team, but still cool to see it in a Donkey Kong game. So, some gripes aside with the frame rates and, going underground feeling a little weird. I'm excited for the movement. I'm excited for these kind of specific challenge levels. And also, another game that's a little weird to demo because I'm going to want to be very thorough when I play it. I was kind of rushing through because I wanted to see everything, and there's all these gold piles everywhere, and I didn't have the time to really just be thorough and collect all of it. When I play this game, I'm going to spend so much time on each level getting every piece of the gold and everything and doing all the collectibles. Kind of a weird game to demo for me, but I'm excited to see more, and I really hope that they fix up the frame rates by the time it actually releases on July 17th. So those are the two games that Nintendo really highlighted at this event as like, these are our big ones. But they also had this entire free play area with a ton of other first party stuff, including Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands DLC, Mario Party Jamboree TV, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and then just a ton of third party stuff, Street Fighter 6, Yakuza 0, Hogwarts Legacy, Split Fiction. I did not get to play everything. There's stuff I really wanted to play that I just did not have time to do. Specifically Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I wanted to try out that new DLC stuff, and Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. I was able to stand and watch other people playing it, which is probably enough, right? And I will say for those games, I mean, they look absolutely breathtaking in a 4K 60. But let's talk about the other games I actually did play. We'll talk a little bit about Prime 4 here. I'm going to do a full video on Prime 4, trust me. If you watch my channel, you know I'm not a Metroid Prime guy, like at least not compared to 2D Metroid. 2D Metroid is my thing, and while this demo didn't necessarily show me like, oh, this is a whole new take on Metroid Prime, and they sped up the gameplay, and it's all these different things, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is actually the game of the show for me. This was the thing that...
That's good to hear because I am more of a 2D Metroidvania Metroid guy. Yes, I am. But I remiss if I don't mention it, but I like Metroid Prime. Okay? I do like Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2. I'm not sure about Metroid Prime 3 because that's on Wii, if I remember correctly. But Metroid Prime is a good series. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But beyond that, it's I don't know why a lot of people didn't pay attention to Metroid in Wii era, but Metroid should have more attention because of the way the franchise was portrayed in Metroid Prime. And then when you see Metroid Prime 4, you see the manifestation of what Metroid Prime or Metroid in general was supposed to be. So if you put like a Metroid film, you're gonna get Metroid Prime 4 graphics, and it's going to sell. If you thought Mario movie was graphically awesome, try Metroid. Yes. Yes. Just with that armor shine, and you saw the last video. It shows the shine and everything else. I don't know how you explain it. It has this CGI look to to Samus. Samus looks like a CGI film in Metroid Prime 4, and it's running on Switch 1. Let that sink, guys. Okay? That's where we're at. That means Retro Studios was cooking with Metroid Prime 4. And then when you consider Metroid Dread, they set the standard for the quality of graphics. Okay? I know you guys are going to disagree with that, but hey, that's how I feel. I love Metroid. I love Metroid in general. I don't care if it's 2D or 3D or whatever. Put it in front of me and I will play it like the first time I played Super Metroid. That's just how it is gonna be. That's how much I love Metroid. Because it gives you this idea of dread. No pun intended, but that's how it feels when you go into like a dark room in Brinstar. Especially the green Brinstar. At the end of this video, I'm gonna make sure that oozing green Brinstar is in there. In the end of this clip of this video. This video is going to have it. And I don't care about anything. Okay? That's gonna show you what Metroid is. If there's any franchise that I love more than anything else in this world, besides Zelda, besides Metal Gear Solid, besides Call of Duty, besides Ninja Gaiden, Metroid belongs up there. And I do not know why Nintendo does not even promote Metroid. I do not understand. Metroid is basically Mega Man, but with modern ideals. I do not know why. I do not know why. You have so much money laying right there in front of you. Okay? But let's go.
I left the most blown away by because of the mouse controls and because of how good it looks. Retro Studios has made a breathtaking Nintendo game here, and I would say with confidence that this is the best looking game Nintendo has ever made or will have published up to this point. It is unbelievable how good it looks. The demo I got to play was running at 1080p, 120 FPS, and seeing a Nintendo game running at 120 FPS, just unreal. This game looks so good, and I think the reason, even though this plays very similarly to the other Prime games, I think for me, what really made it stand apart and made me more excited to play this game, and I think a lot of people will feel this way. I was a little skeptical of the mouse controls. Guys, the mouse controls are incredible. I am happy to report that the mouse controls, not only in Metroid Prime 4, but I mean, I'm just excited to see what other games, use it and how they use it and what ways. The mouse controls in this game are awesome. They have sensitivity settings, so you can put it up to just max sensitivity and do like Metroid Prime trick shots, dude. Like it's really, really snappy. And
I don't mind mouse controls, but I just wish the game was more controller based too. I don't know. I'm not opposed to mouse controls, gyroscopes. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying controls, I like the traditional Metroid Prime control scheme. I hope Retro Studios has that in there. Hopefully. Alright, let's keep going.
it just feels good. It feels so good to be using the mouse controls and aiming as Samus. The speed at which you can, target onto the space pirates and kill them, like, it feels so much better than even using a Wiimote or like the Joy-Con motion in the other games, which, those already felt like a lot better than using a control stick. But having mouse controls in a Nintendo game, very weird, unexpected, I guess, but it feels so good. And the game looks incredible. I'm going to do a whole video on this. I try to scan as much as possible for those that really want to dive deep into the footage. So if you want to, look forward to that, I would appreciate you subscribing. I'll try to have that video out maybe tomorrow. But yeah, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, definitely the highlight of the show for me, alongside the mouse controls. Cannot believe how good they are. And speaking of those mouse controls, there were a few other games that use them, including Mario Party at Jamboree TV. So there were 2 demos for this. I did manage to do both of them because they were very short, like 5 minutes each. The first demo was focused on the mouse con, and the new mini games are a lot of fun. Very basic stuff like, okay, sort the mail into the junk folder or, the good folder.
It's kind of
you're
white.
just using the mouse to, kind of click
right
around.
Here.
Very fun,
It looks gray,
who can sort out their junk mail faster. There was one where you had to hold on to a toad and drag him through an electric maze. If you've played the world's hardest game from back in 2012, it's very much like that, where you cannot, touch the walls. I guess kind of like Operation even. And that was a lot of fun. And then there was one more where you have to spray paint bob-ombs, and whichever team has more bob-ombs colored red or blue will win. You also have to shake the Joy-Con like a can of spray paint. Very fun. I'm really excited to see these new modes and see what else they have in this game. But then I also did try out some mini games using the camera. Now my experience with this was a little not good because the way it was all set up, I don't know if they just needed to recenter the camera, but my 3 friends were all, framed perfectly. And then I was up against like the red cardboard cutout wall that they had there because I don't know if it's not wide enough or what. So if you can see in the gameplay, I'm a little cut off in this. But this is cool. Not as impressive as the MouseCon stuff. Cool to get a little bit of experience with the camera. Seemingly decent tech of like, okay, you're green screening me out, you're cutting me out. But I mean, you can tell it's not like the highest quality thing. Played a mini game where you have to like balance Goombas on your head. Absolutely crushed it. Absolutely killed it in that mode. There's also one where you have to like make a bunch of movement and scream. So in the event, there's just people like screaming at the top of their lungs. I tried, but screaming while also like jumping up and down, a little bit of a weird combo to do. So we lost that one. But for me, Jamboree TV, the big highlight is going to be the MouseCon stuff. Camera, cool to have, fun gimmick stuff. We didn't try that mode where you have to like use your voice to move an RC car because the event's so loud. I imagine they don't want to demo that. I don't think it would play very well. But Jamboree TV, excited for that. Drag and Drive. This is one I'm very curious about, and I might do a whole video on in the coming days or weeks. This demo was not good, and I don't think this game is good. So it's like a 12-minute demo, and 8 minutes of that was tutorial, just showing us how to play. I love MouseCon. This is the one that uses both of the Joy-Con as mice at the same time. And it's weird because it's really intense. Like, this is a really intense game, and I can imagine myself having a lot of fun on launch day playing with, in stream or something with viewers. But it's really intense. Like, you have to do some like pretty intense like wrist movements to play if you want to go at top speed. And I worry about the Joy-Con a little bit. I was talking earlier about how like durable they are and like how good they feel. We'll see. When they're in the console itself, they feel like tight as a rock. Very nice. But you're like slamming them on the table and stuff, and you're going really fast, and your wrists kind of hurt. And also, this game just has no visual identity and looks really ugly. And I mean, it's just Rocket League, but you're in a wheelchair.
On
Rocket League for us Nintendo fans. It can be fun, but I'm just really scratching my head at like who made this. There's no visual identity. It doesn't seem like there's any content. They haven't shown any content. There's one mode, and it's 3v3 basketball in a wheelchair. It's a neat idea, but it feels like something that should have been in like a Switch Sports 2 or something else. A little weird. I think I'm going to do a full video on this game, though, talking about just the game itself, but also some more in-depth impressions there. The final first-party thing I got to try out was the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Once again, a weird one to demo because you're like reading HD Rumble trivia. There's some cool stuff in here, like the little frame rate guesser where you have to guess what the frame rate is. There was a guy talking to me being like, dude, you can't record unless your body part's in it. Sorry about the footage, by the way. Nintendo reps very strict about like, oh, you need to have a hand in it. I'm not sure why Nintendo cares because there's so much footage on the internet of all these games now. But yeah, so I was doing the FPS test and I like kept looking away to like move my iPhone tripod because he kept like saying, dude, you need to get your arm in. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But so you're seeing me fail the FPS tests. There's also the one where you like mess around with the maraca. Very tech demo stuff. We always talk about like 1-2 Switch or even Nintendo Land as a tech demo.
Nintendo
this is literally a tech demo. You're talking about HDR.
It looks fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nintendo game in 120 FPS and stuff like that. I did try the Mario 1-1 at pixel perfect resolution, so that was kind of neat. You kind of just see the entire level fill up. Interestingly, you still can't go back. Even though you can see the entire level at once, you still can't go back. It has that block like the original NES version. For like $10, I think this will be
By
fun.
the way,
it
this
definitely
is not
packed in, though.
me. This
but it does
is
seem like there's a lot here. Like I think I'll have fun going for all the gold medals and everything. And then finally, for third-party stuff, I did not get hands on Cyberpunk.
Exactly what the video is showing.
I think he played it, or maybe he watched someone else playing it. He was saying it looked a little rough. The issue I have with the third-party stuff on display here is that they were making us play them all docked. For me, the appeal of seeing Cyberpunk or Street Fighter 6 or Yakuza 0 on the Switch 2 is handheld mode. If I wanted to play Cyberpunk on a TV, I'm not going to play it on Switch 2. I'm going to play it on PS5. Because I think on Switch 2, Cyberpunk is 1080.
Hey, Bo, the reason why they told you to play it in TV mode is because they want you to see the actual resolution on the actual TV like this. They want you to see it. But when you see it on a handheld, you're not able to convey what the game is on handheld. I understand what you mean, but at the same time, it's both a resolution battle and a battery issue. Okay? So, rumor is Nintendo Switch 2, when you're taking the console out of the dock mode, the handheld mode can only play the game 2 to 5 hours. So they were trying to save wattage. They were trying to save the battery for a little bit. They don't mind you playing it for 5 minutes, but like Cyberpunk, that game requires a long play and taxes the hardware more in handheld mode and sucks up a lot of energy out of the Nintendo Switch 2. Those are all the problems that Nintendo was trying to tell you not to play in handheld mode. Okay, so I was looking at something else, so let's go.
40? I want to say maybe it's 4K 40. Let me know in the comments below. But I can say from my experience playing Street Fighter 6 and Yakuza 0, they don't look as good as the PS5 version, bordering on like a PS4 level. Even Yakuza 0, which I didn't get much time with, I played it for like 3 minutes before they told me to go play Donkey Kong. I would need to see a side by side, but even that, I was like, okay, this kind of looks maybe worse than the PS4 version, which was surprising. There's a lot of new content there. There's like the English voiceover. There's this new online mode. I didn't get any footage of that one. I apologize. But once again, it was only like 3 minutes. That is a launch title. It's also exclusive. I didn't realize that was exclusive to the Switch 2. But also Street Fighter 6. Very crunchy. I played a lot of this game on PS5. I saw there was like a Street Fighter Pro apparently at the event, and he was saying there's less latency on the Switch 2 version, which is interesting. But you can tell it is a Switch version of Street Fighter 6. The models in particular look a little crunchy, but the frame rate and everything else is super solid. It runs great, which you want to sacrifice the visual quality if anything, and have the frame rate be consistent for input and all that. But Street Fighter 6 also had this really bad motion mode. They did this with Street Fighter 2 on Switch. They tried to like do a motion Joy-Con mode in that game. They're doing the same thing here where like you tilt the Joy-Con to move and you shake it to jab and like you tilt it to do your special art. It's very strange. I don't know who would be playing Street Fighter 6 like that, but still it runs good, which is the most important thing for a fighting game. And it's just cool to see, third parties of this caliber coming to the console. So that is going to do it for this video. I just wanted to give my overall thoughts on everything that I played. I will do more granular videos, especially on Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and maybe Dragon Drive. I think those are the 4 that I would really like to focus on in dedicated videos. I wish I'd gotten to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and Kirby. I also did not play the GameCube NSO, which I don't really need to play GameCube games. I saw some other people messing around with the CRT filter in Wind Waker, which looks really good. So expect more hands-on impressions from the Switch 2 events in the coming days. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Of course, subscribe here for Switch 2 stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my other channel at It's Amiibo. And you can click on one of these 2 videos here to listen to me ramble about more Nintendo stuff. Until next time, folks. Peace. Okay, people.
Alright, so good video, Botox Games. That'll be wrapping up this video. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Talk about Colosec 360. I'll see you guys later. Stay awesome.